Today, I'm going to tell you about a website that changed the internet and showed us who we are when no one's watching. That wasn't just a URL. It was a digital doorway into the darkest corners of the human mind. Back then, we were just clicking, laughing, sharing, and making jokes. And no one realized what we were looking at or how normal it had begun to feel. In 1999, a teenager launched the Stile Project. It quickly became a digital hellscape, a place where the line between human curiosity and a pure depravity began to blur. The site had everything, especially the kind of things no one should ever see. But the most terrifying part? We were all there, watching silently, as if nothing was wrong. In 1999, the internet still felt like a vast, unexplored space. There were no rules, no filters, no algorithms nudging your feed. Just static HTML pages built by kids, loners, coders. Jay Stile was one of them, a teenager tethered to the internet by a screeching dial-up tone and a sense of humor that reeked of rot. He didn't have investors or a blueprint, just an urge to build something foul and watch who dared to look. He needed curiosity and a complete absence of restraint, so he built it from scratch. It looked like satire, like a parody of bad taste, but it wasn't a joke. It was crude, blog-style site, flashing GIFs, black backgrounds, and headlines that felt like teenage rebellion on display. It wasn't just in bad taste, it marinated in it. And the deeper you clicked, the more it felt like a trap. What began as one kid's digital playground mutated into something darker, hungrier. Jay didn't just stop to post weird things, he wanted to provoke. He tried to push the button, watching people gag, flinch, stare, and come back for more. And millions didn't look away. They watched, they bookmarked, they shared. The shock didn't come instantly. It crept in, slow and quiet. At first glance, the Stile Project looked like a joke, a teenager's weird little corner of the internet. Bright neon fonts, scrolling headlines, bizarre photo thumbnails that looked more like memes than crimes. But then you clicked, and whatever you thought this site was, it changed. It wasn't just gore, it was something far more unsettling. Jay didn't just collect the internet's darkest corners, he reframed them as entertainment. A real corpse, bloated and half decayed, sat beneath a mocking caption. A brain surgery video looped endlessly, set to upbeat music. It wasn't just disturbing, it was deliberately desensitizing. It was the emotional whiplash that left people disturbed. You couldn't tell if you were just supposed to laugh, watch, or keep scrolling. And most people did all three. There were categories for everything from amputations and extreme insertions to freak accidents, warning pages with no age gates, no filters, nothing to slow you down. If it disturbed the viewer, it earned a spot. If it broke the law, that just made it more irresistible. It didn't just showcase horror, it turned suffering into a spectacle and made fun of anyone who flinched. Some clips were gross, some were weird, but one felt evil. A video so disturbing, people thought it was fake. It started like any other, a grainy, low-resolution video box buried on a page of flashing GIFs and sarcastic headlines. At first, you couldn't quite tell what you were looking at. A dim light, a table, something moving. Then you noticed the sound, soft, uneven, a high-pitched whimper that didn't belong. Your eyes adjusted. It was a kitten, tied, struggling, crying, and in the frame, just out of focus, a pair of hands, calm, deliberate, touching the animal not with affection, but with the slow, mechanical precision of someone preparing a meal. The footage was short. It didn't have to be long. Within hours, the image had burned itself into the minds of everyone who saw it. To this day, no one knows for sure if it was real, but that didn't matter because people believed it. And on the internet, belief is sometimes more powerful than truth. Animal rights groups descended on the site like a swarm. Message boards lit up. PETA publicly condemned the site. News anchors described it as the darkest corner of the web. And Jay? He said nothing. Didn't delete it. Didn't explain. The clip stayed right where it was, quietly racking up clicks. Some called it the moment the Stile Project went too far. For others, it was the reason they bookmarked the site and came back every day. The line wasn't just crossed, it was erased. By the end of 1999, the Stile Project had evolved into something far more than just a simple website. It had morphed into something darker, a twisted carnival of shock and spectacle, with Jay Stile quietly pulling the strings. Just when it seemed like he'd gone as far as possible, he took it even further. One night, visitors loaded the homepage and found something new. A live webcam feed. No caption, no description. The image was dark and murky, bathed in the dull orange glow of a single desk lamp. A teenager sat at the edge of the frame, motionless, his face unreadable, his hands folded in his lap. Minutes passed. Nothing happened. You could almost hear the audience's collective breathing through the static. The chat, if you could call it that back then, filled with guesses, jokes, uneasy speculation. People leaned closer to their screens, waiting. Then, without warning, he reached down, brought something into frame. A gun. There was no speech, no theatrics, just the metallic glint under the light. And then, the sound. One deafening crack. The feed cut to black. The site went silent. Hours passed. Then days. No updates. No explanations. The internet's rumor mill went into overdrive. Had Jay Stile just killed himself? Was this the final post from a digital ghost? And then, just as suddenly as it had ended, the site returned. New post. Fresh update. Jay was alive, smirking, proud. It had all been staged, not as a cry for help, but as an experiment. A test to see how far attention could be stretched, how quickly shock could travel, and just how deep the internet's appetite for spectacle really went. It worked. Traffic spiked to record numbers, and Jay proved something chilling. On the internet, you could die and come back more famous than ever. What happens when a digital sewer becomes a tourist attraction? When millions visit the very thing they claim to hate? That's what happened to the Stile Project. Outrage fueled it, and Jay knew precisely how to keep the fire going. After the kitten video made headlines, traffic to the site increased quickly. It wasn't hundreds or thousands. There were millions, and they came fast, not over months, but in days. The internet wasn't just watching. It was circulating links, writing blogs, and telling friends to just see it once. Even those who hated it helped it spread. Jay Stile wasn't famous. He was an infamous anti-celebrity, never seen and rarely heard, always there behind the screen, pulling strings. No statements, no explanations. Each new upload was darker than the last, The louder the protest, the darker his uploads became. PETA and animal welfare groups launched petitions, protests, and takedown attempts. But nothing worked because there was no moderators, no takedowns, no rules. Jay didn't break the rules. He thrived in their absence. The media covered it like a virus, but in doing so, they spread it. Shocking new website, corrupting kids. Is this the darkest place online? But in truth, they were spreading it further. Each warning felt like a dare. Each article, a free promotion. School firewalls couldn't block it fast enough. Parents banned it, which made it even more appealing. Teenagers dared each other to visit. It became an early internet rite of passage. Have you seen Stile? It didn't matter that it made you sick. What mattered was that it happened, and no one looked away. Eventually, the noise got quieter. Jay's Stile sold the site, with no grand announcement, no apology, just silence. The original site went offline, but like everything on the internet, it never truly disappeared. Clones and mirror sites kept it alive. Screenshots circulated in forums like digital artifacts. And its legacy? You feel it in every viral video that makes you flinch, but you don't look away. What Jay built wasn't just a website, it was a prototype. A blueprint for monetizing outrage, normalizing cruelty, and turning horror into a scrollable thrill. He didn't invent internet depravity, he just gave it a throne and let the world kneel. The screen went dark, but what Jay created didn't die, it just crawled off the internet, and it made a home inside of us.